Well, we have some big news from Eli Lilly this afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Karen Campbell with 13 News at noon. Governor Holcomb, along with Eli Lilly, are announcing a $4.5 billion Eli Lilly and Company research and manufacturing facility. That facility will be housed in Lebanon's Leap District. The Lilly Medicine Foundry is set to open in late 2027. The company says it will combine research, manufacturing, and technology to innovate new production methods and also widen global access to Lilly's clinical supply. So some big news there coming for our area. And for the first time, we are hearing from the City County Council's investigative committee. They are looking into complaints against members of Mayor Joe Hogsett's administration. Now, this comes after several people came forward alleging a culture of sexual harassment inside of City Hall. Our Marion County reporter Lauren Kostick looks at the process and the next steps for this investigation.
Good evening. On Tuesday, 7 councilors took their seats for the first meeting of the council's investigative committee, a bipartisan undertaking that got the green light last month. It follows multiple allegations of sexual harassment within City Hall, including accusations against the mayor's former top aide, Thomas Cook. Councilor Krista Carlino was appointed as chair of the committee.
We want to make sure that we take our time, that we're doing our due diligence, and that we aren't rushing to conclusions, and that, due process occurs in any way that it can.
The committee's first task is choosing an outside law firm to conduct the investigation. Councilors were presented 3 options Tuesday, focusing on cost and experience in employment law.
Because at the end of the day, this is a human issue, a people issue, and we want to make sure that is exactly what the expertise of the firm that we contract with has.
The city's director of human resources also laid out the current policies, leaving councilors with a lot of questions. The biggest concern is the fact that the city still doesn't have a fully anonymous reporting tool. The current internal system requires the person to be an employee and enter a login. The city's HR department said they are working to secure a permanent solution, something the committee wants to see done as soon as possible.
It's my biggest concern right now is to quickly get that third-party vendor stood up so that we have an avenue for anonymous reporting for employees of the city of Indianapolis, past and present.
Currently, the city's HR department continues to investigate 4 complaints of harassment after initially receiving 7 over the summer, one resulting in the firing of a staff administrator. And this committee is set to meet again next Wednesday. That is when councilors will choose and vote on an outside law firm to conduct this investigation. At the City County building, Lauren Kostick, 13 News.
All right, thank you, Lauren. Another committee has its first meeting on the books. The new Vision Zero task force is working to come up with a plan to improve pedestrian and bicyclist safety across Indianapolis. Now, the hope is to eliminate all pedestrian traffic deaths by the year 2035. The task force is comprised of 15 appointees, including city, county councilors and community stakeholders. And the group's first meeting is set for October 23rd. That is when they will lay out actionable steps to implement this proposal. All right, it is time now to get you a check on this forecast. It is a clear Wednesday afternoon and we're seeing some sun. Now, I want to ask Sean Ash, who's joining us now. Of course, we're going to see some warm temperatures, but severe clear.
Yeah.
Explain that to us.
Not
severe clear.
Hardly a cloud in the sky.
All right, I like that.
We like that kind of severe, yes. And we're going to shut down rain for a while.
Okay.
Quiet pattern, not only for us, but most importantly for areas that are cleaning up, so from the hurricane. Let's show you this morning. You felt the difference, didn't you? 40s early on. Now, again, a few hours where you might need long sleeves, light jacket, but we're going to shed those layers quickly here this afternoon. We're already well into the 60s and on our way to a high temperature close to 70 degrees. So in my book, for October or really any time of year, this is weather perfection occurring here in central Indiana. Visible satellite, not much to show you here across Indiana. We've got some fair weather cumulus clouds over in Ohio, but as we look to the west, which is typically where our weather comes from, nothing doing. So we have a very quiet weather pattern here. High temperatures near 70 this afternoon. So we are going to see these swings from lows to highs And in this case, going to be about 25-degree difference here. Pretty quiet 7-day forecast. We'll talk a little bit about the tropics coming up, but otherwise we've got sunshine here. A couple 80-degree days as well, all coming up in the 7-day forecast.
All right. Thanks, Sean.
Yeah.
This afternoon, police are closely looking at a home on Indy's north side. This is where they're investigating 2 separate homicides in the same month. The latest case happened on Monday after someone found a man's body in the backyard of a house on Leland Avenue near 34th and Emerson. Investigators say he'd been shot. A month earlier, a similar scene, same address. Police tell us they found a man shot to death in his truck. Neighbors say no one has lived in the house for years. 13 News did check property records, and the home is owned by an LLC with a location based in New York.
I'm sure our community does see that type of instance where there's landholders that may not reside in the state, but that's not illegal, and that's where, again, we ask that if you see individuals on site that shouldn't be there, that you contact the IMPD so we can make sure those individuals are removed and that any action that is necessary is taken.
There is no word yet on if police have made any arrests, but if you know anything, police want to hear from you. This afternoon, we are learning new details from a crash report after a Plainfield officer hit and killed a couple while chasing a suspect. This happened back in August at US 40 and Smith Road. Police say the officer was chasing a driver who took off from a nearby restaurant after an altercation when he hit an oncoming car that had the right of way. In the crash report, investigators say the officer hit speeds up to 100 miles per hour just seconds before impact. It also says the officer failed to drive with heightened awareness for risks as he entered that intersection. 78-year-old Barbara Williams and 79-year-old Benny Williams were killed in that crash. The Avon Police Department is leading the investigation into what happened. Police took the man they were chasing into custody a couple of weeks later. Well, now the latest on a condo fire on the east side that we brought to you as breaking news on Sunrise. Now this happened on Penrith Drive near East 25th Street and North Midhofer Road. We know that 6 people are now without a home following that fire. It all began just after 4:30 this morning. 4 units were impacted. At this hour, we are still working to learn what led up to that fire. New information about a massive warehouse fire in Richmond, if you recall it, dating back to 2023. The Indiana Department of Homeland Security says it is ruling the cause of the fire as undetermined. Investigators believe the fire started in an area outside of a building near the center of the property, but they could not find a source of where that fire started. It burned for a week. Investigators say it didn't leave any evidence that could be traced to a potential cause. Now, 13 News reached out to the city for comment, and when we hear back, we will make sure to pass that along to you. All right, time to talk sports now with the Pacers. They tip off the preseason in less than 1 week. We caught up with the team yesterday after their first practice. The roster is largely the same as last year when the Pacers made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Pascal Siakam, TJ McConnell, and Obi Toppin all signed new deals in the offseason, plus the return of Benedict Mathurin, who is back from injury. There are a lot of expectations for this Pacers team, and they know that there's still lots of work to do.
The big thing right now is that, we have to place a greater emphasis on defense. And so, getting on the floor, staying on the floor, defense is going to be a big part of that.
It's enjoyable because we don't have to walk through kind of the slow stuff that's like kind of when you're a young team, and now it's less about that and more about adjustments to the things that we do so well and things we don't do well and how we can get better at that.
The Pacers' regular season tips off October 23rd on the road in Detroit against the Pistons. Well, now to the Colts as they head back to practice later today, getting ready for Jacksonville on Sunday. Now, last night, the team hosted the 3rd Colts Unified Flag Classic. Check this out. And the unified sports concept was first developed by the Special Olympics. It gives high school students of all abilities the chance to play together on a team.
Athletics teaches a lot of life lessons, but when you put students with and without intellectual disabilities together on the same field, wearing the same uniform, riding the same bus to school, empathy, inclusion is a huge deal.
And this year's event featured a doubleheader with Zionsville taking on Fishers and Arsenal Tech facing off against George Washington.